बस बस से ही जाना पड़ेगा। तो टैक्सी में बैठ के जाने से क्या मतलब, बस से जाओगे तभी तुमको आइडिया होगा कितना टाइम लगता है।
Good afternoon, sir. A very good afternoon, sir. Bakshi sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are audible. You are audible, sir.
Ma'am, we'll just start once Rar ma'am joins.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Ma'am, has the principal ma'am joined the session?
Madam will be joining, sir. She is here just one urgent meeting just now. So she will be joining, sir. You proceed further. She will be joining.
Good afternoon, Bakshi sir.
Good afternoon. How are you? Fine?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Fine. Thank you.
So we'll just begin in a minute or two. Rar ma'am is joining in a minute. So
Okay.
we'll begin with. Yes, sir.
No problem.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Sir, shall we proceed?
We're just waiting for Principal Kavita Lalchandani madam to join it. We'll just proceed in a minute.
Sir, madam is attending one urgent meeting. So you start, she will join in between, sir.
Okay, ma'am. I should proceed with
It was
the session.
suddenly she was called up for a meeting, sir.
Okay.
Very urgent meeting. Yeah.
Now we are starting with the session. A very good afternoon to the distinguished speaker, respected dignitaries, and dear participants present over here. I, Ayushi Dwivedi, Head of Events, Troy Penale Group, along with my co-host, Dr. Ashish Borse, Assistant Professor, HSNC Boards, KC Law College, Mumbai, welcomes you all to the inaugural session of the Online Faculty Development Program on Academic Research Writing and Best Practices organized by HSNC Boards, KC Law College, Mumbai, and Droid Penale Group, Prayagraj, in collaboration with Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Now, moving on, I would like to continue the session with a quick intro about our organizing committees. Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching is a scheme launched by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. The aim of the scheme to improve the quality of school and higher education by addressing comprehensively all issues related to teachers, teaching, teacher preparation, professional development, curriculum design, designing and developing assessment and evaluation methodology, research in pedagogy, and developing effective pedagogy. Many centers such as TLC, FTC, School of Education, etc. have been opened throughout the country. Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center was inaugurated on 1st July 2016 by Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani. It has been created under the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching of the Ministry of Human Resources Development, Government of India, which addresses comprehensively all issues related to teachers, teaching, teacher preparation, and professional development, and thus helps in the preparation of modern age ICT savvy teachers. This center empowers through various basic and advanced workshops for teachers in pedagogy, virtual and blended, and ICT skills. MHRD has also selected Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center as the National Resource Center of Chemistry in 2018. Since 2016, it has trained more than 72,000 teachers in the areas of e-learning, blended learning pedagogies, ICT tools, and educational technologies, etc. The core team of Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center has expertise of developing more than 50 MOOCs for SWAYAM platform of Government of India, and the e-content produced by Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center has been rated as one of the best in quality at the national level. Now, I would request my co-host Dr. Ashish Borse to take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope I'm audible, ma'am.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
A very good afternoon to the distinguished speakers, esteemed dignitaries, and all dear participants. It is my proud privilege first to introduce the iconic and illustrious HSNC Board. The HSNC Board, that is the Hyderabad Sindh National Collegiate Board, is known for its educational excellence in all major programs of liberal arts, science, business, engineering, law, and pharmacy. It caters to the needs of about 50,000 students through a large group of educational institutions, one of which is Kishinchan Chellaram Law College, popularly known as KC Law College. The mission of the board is to strive for excellence in academics, cultural activities, sports, and other extracurricular activities. The vision of HSNC board is to provide education that is world-class, comparable to the best of the institutions in India as well as abroad. The board achievements can be seen through the establishment of the state cluster university known as the HSNC University, Mumbai. As of 2020, the HSNC University has come into existence. It is one of its kind, a unique cluster university consisting of 3 colleges of the board, namely KC College, HR College, and the Bombay Teachers Training Institute. This university was launched on 11th June 2020 by the Honorable Shri Bhagat Singh Koshyari, Governor of Maharashtra, in the presence of Honorable Shri Uddhav Thackeray, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. I am equally proud and honored to formally introduce the Kishinchan Chellaram Law College, popularly known as the KC Law College. HSNC Board's Kishinchan Chellaram Law College, established in 1955, is one of the premier law institutions in the city of Mumbai. It is permanently affiliated to the University of Mumbai, recognized by the Government of Maharashtra, and recognized under sections 2F and 12B of the UGC Act. The college has developed it in nurturing the youth through legal education, and the success of it can be seen through the several rankings received by the college. This year, the college is ranked 6th as amongst the top leading law schools of super excellence and 3rd as top law school in the state of Maharashtra by Competition Success Review, June 2021 edition. The college is also ranked 38th amongst all law colleges in India and 2nd best in top 10 law colleges with best value for money, and also ranked 4th best in top 10 law colleges with lowest fees in the magazine India Today, June 2021 issue. The college has also ranked 30th amongst all India private law colleges and fifth among private law colleges of West Zone by Week Magazine, August 2021 edition. The college offers 3 years LLB course as well as 2 years LLM course in business law and criminal administration. Additionally, the college also caters to the dynamic needs of the students by offering various certificate courses. Every year, the college conducts extracurricular and co-curricular activities for overall development of students. The college's vision is towards elevating the standard and quality of legal education to the level of leading law schools in the country. KC Law College seeks to be a distinctive and distinguished law institution with a strong national and comparative focus. I would now request my co-host Ayushi ma'am to continue with the session.
Thank you, Ashish, sir. The event is jointly organized by Droid Penale Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society. The Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, which is registered under Societies Act 1860 with the order of the Registrar of Societies, registration number 583, letter number this, has catered to the objective of Droid Penale Group. The Droid Penale Group has also registered a society for the research in the criminology, Indian Legal Research Society on Criminology. This society will look into the research and publication of research work under the banner of Indian Legal Research Society on Criminology. The organization is signing MOUs with various universities, colleges, and organizations for the welfare and encouragement of young minds in the research and publication. Droid Penale Group is an initiative taken in the legal field to provide the discussions on minute nuances involved in the intricacies of law in a simple and qualified manner. The Droid Penale Group Indian Law Journal on Criminal Crime and Criminology, ILGCC, was established in the year 2016, where in the year 2019, the Droid Penale Group, ILGCC, was considered as the group where we have started other ventures under the name of Droid Penale Group. The Droid Penale Indian Law Journal on IPR was established in 2019 and Droid Penale Newsletter in 2019. And Droid Penale publication in the year 2020 under the banner of Droid Penale Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj. The Droid Penale Group is established for the purpose of promoting interest by organizing workshops, refresher courses, faculty development programs, capacity building programs, seminars, debates, and discussions. Not only this, but also the Droid Penale Group focuses to impart free educational and training to poor and needy students. The group is actively involved in promotion of legal aid to poor and aggrieved class of society by regularly organizing the free legal aid camps. Now, moving on to the session, I would request Mr. Gaurav Gulati, Secretary, Droid Penale Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj, to say a few opening words.
A very good afternoon to our distinguished guests for the inaugural ceremony and our dear participants who have joined from various parts of the country to this online faculty development program on academic research writing and best practices. This program is a joint program with KC Law College and Droid Penale Group, which is in collaboration with Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. I would like to welcome our chief guest, Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, and Professor Vimal Raj ma'am, who is the guest of honor for today. For this 7 days program, we will be having number of resource persons who have been invited for the discussion on various topics related to the academic research writing and best practices from various national law universities and other universities across the India. So we will be sharing this learning journey for 7 days and hope all the participants benefit out of it. And these initiatives are basically not for the purpose of achieving a certificate. These are for the purpose of getting knowledge out of the luminaries which we have invited. So we will be having almost 13 sessions wherein there will be 14 resource persons who will be speaking about the topics, and they will be giving their experience to us and sharing their long journey experience with us. So we'll be having certain, if there will be any query or anything like that, we are there for you, and my team is available for you, and they will be helping you out in all these issues. So over to you, Ayushi, and I welcome everybody over here on this online faculty development program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this warm welcome. Just to confirm, sir, is Kavita ma'am still joined the
No,
session?
Principal ma'am is not there.
Should I skip the part?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now we have with our guest of eminence, Dr. Bimal Rar ma'am, National Coordinator, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. Dr. Rar is an excellent teacher, coordinator, and leading woman entrepreneur in the field of e-learning with a decade of experience in the corporate e-learning sector as well. With a decade of experience in the corporate e-learning world, she is among the pioneers in implementing ICT in higher education in the country and is a tax-certified teacher. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I now request Dr. Bimal Rar ma'am to address the gathering.
Thank you for your kind words, Ayushi. Good afternoon, everyone. Very respected Honorable Professor A.K. Bakshi, Vice Chancellor, PDM University, and Chairman, GADTLC. Very respected Professor Kavita Lalchandani in absentia, and Professor Jaswinder Singh in absentia from the two institutions. One is KC Law College, Mumbai, and another my own college. Also, we have Dr. Ashish Dorsey, Mr. Gaurav Gulati, Ayushi Dwivedi, and all other organizing committee members from this collaboration, that is with HSNC's board, Kishan Chand Chelaram Law College, University of Mumbai, and Droid Penal Group. And most importantly, all dear colleagues who have joined as participant in this 1 week program, that is faculty development program, cum certificate program on academic research writing and best practices. I welcome each one of you, and let me just share my screen. I welcome you on behalf of Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. It's a center of Ministry of Education under the prestigious Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Nation Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme. Situated at my own college, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, University of Delhi, I welcome you on behalf of my college and University of Delhi. We are seeking blessings from Guru Angad Dev Ji, the second of the 10 Sikh Gurus, and taking our efforts in making the co-learning of our all fellow colleagues in different aspects for their professional developments through the faculty development program, faculty induction program, workshop, and so many other events that we keep on conducting either individually or many jointly. And in that aspect, I think Dr. Gulati, I'd like to congratulate you. You have conducted many events with us and taking this mission of ours together to each and every colleague as far as we have reached. And I welcome you on behalf of my entire advisory committee, headed by Professor A.K. Bakshi, and we have other distinguished academicians, and especially Professor Jaswinder Singh, sir. He'll be joining in the valedictory with all of you. And we are taking this activity further as a mission, I will say, because in this ever-changing time, and especially in the last 2 years, how education stakeholders have all embraced the technology. I think the technology is to empower in different spheres, whether it is our own subject knowledge, which is also expanding day by day. There are so many policy changes happening, whether it is in terms of the law, from where most of the collaborating institutions and our participants are coming in this particular program, as well as in generic, and also in terms of the changing pedagogy and how we have to integrate with these tools. This center was inaugurated on 1st July 2016 by the then Honorable HRD Minister Smriti Jubin Irani ji. Let us hear some few words on that inaugural day by her.
आज मैं विशेष रूप से बधाई देती हूँ प्रोफेसर बख्शी को, विमल जी को, जिन्होंने बहुत मेहनत करके इस सेंटर को जीवित रूप में आपके सामने प्रस्तुत किया। ये एक टीचर की ललक, उसके उत्साह का उदाहरण है कि भारत सरकार ने दिसंबर 2014 को माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के हाथों पंडित मदन मोहन मालवीय नेशनल मिशन को राष्ट्र के सामने प्रस्तुत किया। लेकिन उसमें हमने एक शर्त रखी कि जो भी इस प्रोजेक्ट से जुड़े वो स्वयं एक अनोखा टीचिंग लर्निंग का प्रस्ताव लेकर आए, और उस प्रस्ताव में जो अनोखा हो अथवा वो प्रस्ताव अगर शिक्षकों के माध्यम से आए तो विशेष रूप से हमारा सहयोग ऐसे प्रोत्साहित शिक्षकों को जो दूरगामी परिणाम देख सकते हैं, ऐसे शिक्षकों को समर्थन करने का हमारा प्रयास रहेगा। My teachers and my heartiest congratulations on that. The fact that these two exemplary teachers, along with others who have possibly assisted them for this program, have gone beyond the call of duty, not limited themselves to only classroom teaching, and thought of giving back to their own community to better quality of teaching is, I think, a remarkable aspect of this program.
So I'm thankful to entire officials and time to time various ministers at Ministry of Education who have been supporting us in this cause. And at ground level, we have been working as a team for faculty empowerment, and that's how we started our workshop. But then finally, we are now using the nomenclature which is accepted as per CAS requirement. But then all of these are empowering events for faculty, which is very important. And as rightly said by Gaurav also, that we should not take these as the certificate earning things, but rather these are the opportunities which we can now have flexibility sitting at our home with the help of technology. And that's what I think GADTLC has taken a lead in designing these flexible programs also, which now other centers are also following. So not only in terms of various events, but also in terms of open education resources, which you can contribute. And in my session, I'll be sharing some details about, so those interested can also work in those lines at the nation level. We also as a team have contributed at Center for E-Learning, where we prepared the digital content, and especially this academic research writing. Uh, there will be speakers who will be talking about more of how the requirements in terms of research paper publishing and all. But then the growing need, which is now changing also for higher education teacher, is that we should also be knowing the tools for the various writing as well as digital publishing, which is very important now. So I'm sure there will be many speakers who will be deliberating upon that. And even I will share that how in the journey of digital content creation, what are various important issues that we have to cater to, which also will be beneficial to our fellow colleagues as we are. And there will be new models that you also can think about in your own subject domains, how it can be taken further. We also contributed for MOOCs, and MOOCs is again coming up where every autonomous college can start their online courses and all. So here also, I think many collaborations can happen, and how quality content can be generated. And there also, in terms of static content writing, there's a very important part which uh, in this particular academic research writing tips as you are taking, it will also help you in terms of any static content writing for that matter. And whatever we are doing, I think we have to also cater to our community requirements. And we have also taken some initiatives like cancer awareness MOOC is available, which is free of cost, where you can all enroll, and you can tell your students also to enroll. And this also is helping you to develop your life skills. And also this faculty induction program is again a flagship program of Ministry of Education. And prior to this, orientation courses used to happen in a non-structured manner. I will say they were more of speaker driven rather than designing that, okay, in the entry level or all the higher education faculty should be trained around these. So here is the first attempt by Government of India, and I'm happy that my college name is here, as we contributed in designing of around 8 out of the 12 modules in this faculty induction program. And we have conducted various of these faculty induction programs in the years since 2016 that we have started. And we have conducted programs across nook and corner in India in face-to-face mode as well. But then we were able to touch more than 9,000 teachers since 2016 to 20. But how technology actually help us reach to more of our colleagues, even it has taken us as a surprise actually. So last 2 years now we have touched more than 72,000 teachers since the corona pandemic, and rather now teachers are uh, have accepted that yes, for the students it has to be a blended or hybrid mode, but for adult learners, the serial learners like teachers, for their capacity building, they are all preferring the online mode over the offline mode, and it is also a cost effective mode, and you can interact with so many experts from all over the globe, and it is very easier for teachers also, right, doing their professional duties. They can also learn at the go, and that's how I'll say it has been really beneficial to many teachers. This teachers e-kit concept of mine, those who are interested, they can, a group of 4 or 5 can approach us and they can prepare the content in this. So not only that entire series will be uh, another sort of research, I will say, which is be enhancing the quality of teaching learning for other teachers also across the country. And this also is a model which will be useful not only to improve your own transaction of teaching learning processes, but also help other fellow colleagues. National Resource Center of Chemistry, again, since 2018, we have been conducting annual refresher program in teaching for chemistry teachers. And here again, out of 42 national resource centers in different subjects, we are leading in terms of the quality as well as the number of enrollments. And coming to this faculty development program, I think this is a unique initiative. And again, I'm happy to share that more than 80 programs we have done in last 2 years, FDP only. I'm not counting any webinars or other things, only the faculty development programs. And out of these, this is again a new title in itself. I don't think we have ever repeated, just 1 or 2 which are quite like e-content and MOOCs, there's a repeat requirement every time. But then we have been innovating different titles and different programs, and that is possible with our collaborating issues. Never a single group can do something miracle. It has always to be a collaborative and team effort, and I will request all those participants, also those who are getting some ideas, keep on jotting down. At the end, I will be asking in the feedback also, where what all you want to learn, and where also we can collaborate with you to take your ideas further, which can be beneficial to other teachers. So for that, I really congratulate and thanks HSNC's boards, Kishan Chand Chelaram, Law College, and the entire coordinating team, right from Principal Ma'am, who is not able to join today, but Gaurav, do convey my thanks to her. And also Droid Panel Group, Gaurav is here, entire team, and that we are taking further. But my humble request to all of you, please be regular in your attendance and various other parameters, assignment, wages, and projects, which are very important, because if one of these is also not fulfilled, then we will not be able to give you the CAS required certificate, and then only certificate of participation will be there, where it will be mentioned that it cannot be availed for CAS. But anyhow, for both the modes, the learning definitely will be there. And I thank all the participants, especially who have joined in this program. I'm sure it is going to be really a fruitful co-learning for all of us. Even I'm going to attend many of the sessions because seems to be very, very exciting resource persons and topics that Gaurav and the team KC Law College has collected. And most importantly, I'm especially thankful to Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, who will be giving the inaugural address also today, for sparing his valuable time in spite of his busy schedule. So thank you for being with us, and we are looking forward to your welcome address, inaugural address rather. And also we are thankful to all the resource persons who will be giving their valuable inputs in this particular event. And please do join our telegram group where you can keep on getting more updates about our upcoming events. And with these words, I wish all the good to this particular program. I'm sure it is going to be beneficial to all of us, and with this we will be having many ideas which will try to translate in our teaching learning processes in the class. And the future generation of research scholars, I'm sure they will be benefiting in terms of their academic writing in this process. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, respected Dr. Vimal Rarman, National Coordinator, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, New Delhi, for your enlightening words and for informing us about so many important tools and techniques, right from MOOCs and various other aspects you have touched upon in a very short speech. You have touched upon research writing, MOOCs, digital publishing, digital content creation, and teachers EQ, and so several other initiatives of your institution. And we are so proud to see and know that there are almost 1 lakh teachers across the nation benefited by various programs and events conducted by the Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enlightening words. It is now my proud privilege to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, PDM University, Haryana. Professor A.K. Bakshi is presently founding Vice Chancellor of PDM University, Bahadurgarh, Haryana. Sir has been Executive Director of Tertiary Education Commission, that is TEC, Mauritius. This is a post for which he was selected through a global selection. And Sir is also Vice Chancellor of UP Rajarshi Tandon Open University, Allahabad. Professor Bakshi is also presently chairman of the National Resource Center of Chemistry of MHRD at Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center of MHRD and Center for E-Learning. Bakshi sir has also been member of the Standing Committee of the National Mission on Education through ICT of the Government of India. Bakshi sir has also been the chairman of the Content Advisory Committee for Chemistry for Sakshat portal of the MHRD, Government of India. Sir is a double gold medalist and recipient of several awards and academic honors. Professor Bakshi was felicitated twice for his outstanding contributions to education by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Professor Bakshi is also the co-author of more than 180 research and education articles and one patent. Sir has to his credit 11 books as author or co-author, 51 e-books or books as editor, chairman, convener of the working group, and over 63 e-modules as author, co-author for post-graduation chemistry courses and ARPIT programs, ARPIT, ARPIT programs of the MHRD. Sir is one of the first persons from universities in India to have been selected as a member scientist of third Indian research expedition in Antarctica. We are so privileged and honored to have such a distinguished personality with us as our esteemed chief guest for the inaugural day of this event. A very good afternoon and warm welcome to you, sir. I may now request Sir, Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, to address the gathering.
Professor Lalani, Principal of KC Law College, Mumbai, but is not present today because of her other commitments. Mr. Gaurav Gulati, Director, Prayagraj, Professor Vimal Rao, Project Head and Joint Director, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center of the Ministry of Education, Dr. Ashish Dorsey, Miss Ayushi Dwivedi, and last but not the least, dear participants from pleased to be here with you.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. I think your audio, some issue is there. Can you just?
Am I not audible?
Not very clear.
Yes, ma'am, it's not very clear.
Maybe if you are on AirPod, you can remove that and direct.
I
Try
have
to-
removed your pod. Is it better now?
Yeah, this is
Yes,
better,
sir.
sir. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you very much. So I am very happy to be a part of this inaugural event of this faculty development program being organized by KC Law College and Droit Penale Group in collaboration with Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center of the Ministry of Education. As you all know, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center is a center of the Government of India, which has been created under Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching. You know, this is a central scheme of the Government of India, where the focus is on teachers and their teaching. And under this scheme, GAD TLC has been organizing various programs. As Professor Vimal Rao pointed out, almost 80 programs, faculty development programs on various aspects of higher education have been organized. And as it has also been mentioned, we have trained more than 70,000 teachers from across the country. So much so that GAD TLC is a well-known name in higher education. So in continuation to that, present program is going to be extremely important. And as Professor Vimal pointed out, it's perhaps for the first time we are organizing a program on academic research, writing, and best practices. So now the question comes, why we are having this program? As you know, we are all in higher education. And for a teacher in higher education, two important functions are to disseminate knowledge, that is teaching learning, and the second is to create knowledge, that is doing research and guiding research. So this program is basically dealing with research. We all have done, we all are doing research, and we are also guiding research. Because, you know, if you do not do research, then you are just repeating what has already been said. And there will not be any significant contribution from your institution if you do not contribute to the creation of knowledge. So research is a very, very important activity. And now the question comes, what is academic research writing? See, whenever you do research, whenever you come out with new results, whenever you are able to create new knowledge, the next point is that that knowledge should be passed on to all people who are in that field. And this is done through journals, I mean research journals, or sometimes you are doing PhD in your thesis or in some other reports, or if you have some research projects, it could be in the form of a report of that project, etc. So you have to tell people what is the outcome of your research. And since you have done the work and others have not done it, then it becomes your duty to make it sure that you write it so well that whosoever reads it, it becomes abundantly clear to him or her. So there comes the role of academic research writing. Academic research writing is very, very important. Otherwise, your research findings will remain limited to you only. And if your research writing is not of good quality, perhaps your papers may not be accepted. Therefore, the next question comes, what all we should keep in mind while writing academic research work? That's the next point. So that you can send it to some journal or some other important platform where it can reach to the masses in that field. Although there are many features of academic research writing, but then there are certain features which have to be taken care of. From my vast experience, I feel the most important is the structure of your writing. How you structure your writing. By structure, I mean, suppose you want to send it to some journal, that journal has certain format, it must be having abstract, then introduction, then there are various paragraphs or various sections where you talk about methodology, then results, then discussion, then conclusion, etc., as per the format of the journal. So that I mean is the structure of the paper. So you will have to follow the structure very well. This is one very important feature of academic research writing. You should be very clear. And structure is like, once you build a house, first you write introduction. Now in the context of house, there is a main entrance you enter. That is like introduction. And then there are various rooms. Similarly, in your paper, there are various paragraphs, there are various sections. Each has its own meaning, and all taken together give you complete information about your house or about the research work. That I mean is the structure. So you should follow the structure. This is very, very important. I'm sure I'm not here to deliver a big talk, but I'm just touching the salient features. And once you are clear that you have to have this structure, then second quality which is important is, after structured, is evidenced. Whatsoever you write in that paper, you must support it with adequate references, citations, or some other sources from where you have gathered information. So whatsoever statement, whatsoever information you give, it needs to be adequately supported by references. That is, I mean the evidence which you give. So collecting the references is very, very important while writing a research paper. And then the third thing which is very important is in your writing style, you have to be very critical. You just don't have to describe what you have done. Why you have done, that is also important. You should, whatsoever information you are giving, it should be assessed as well as evaluated. A critical approach. What is the justification for doing this? So this is a very important point, critical. And one more thing which I feel is important is you should be very precise. You don't have to write big essays. You should convey it in a very simple language using the subject vocabulary. So that is what I mean. You have to be very precise. And one more thing which comes to my mind is that your paper should be balanced. Balanced, I mean to say, if in the paper you cite other people or you give references of others people, their work should also be presented without any prejudice or bias. Correct information should be given. We should not only criticize others' work. So you have to give a balanced view on the subject matter. So this is another thing which is very important. Then you have to be very clear about the language part. Subjectivity should be, for example, avoided. For example, if in a chemistry paper I write, I heated this substance, that's not good. You should write the substance was heated. So it is a passive voice. Or I could see that, or it is seen like that. So these are the things which you slowly come to know. And then in conclusion, you should give the entire, the summary of the work, the salient features, all that has to be there. And the language should be formal, not informal. This is not the thing. This is not the thing. This is not. And so you have to use correct words. Formal language should be used. So, what I really want to say in this brief talk is, these are the various features which an academic writer should keep it in mind while presenting a research paper. And as you practice more and more, you learn more and more. And then it becomes your habit. And now, do you know that there are now some services which are available, where if you give them your results and the field and the other things, they can write it for you. Even that is also possible now. In private sector, there are some, they have employed some, professionals who will do proofreading, check your language, ensure whether the references are correct or somewhere there is a mistake in the language, etc. They will do it for you. So even academic, writing can be hired. That is what I mean. This is the practice which is now happening. Because of this technology, all this is possible. Very quickly, you can do all the things. But ladies and gentlemen, what I really want to say is, this is one aspect of writing the research. Once you have finished the work, then presentation includes writing. But much more important than this is doing a quality research work. That nobody can do for you. There you have to put in your efforts. You have to ensure that the research work which you are doing, you may be in any discipline, it is really of high quality. And for that, you need to be very creative. You need to be an out-of-box thinker, because ultimately research starts from an idea. Rest of the things, money, funding, etc., are of secondary importance. The most important is the idea on which you want to work. That is why, it is said you need to be innovative and creative. And for research, 4 C's are very important: curiosity, courage, commitment. All these things are very, very important. And creativity. So what I mean to say is, because here the participants are from different disciplines, requirements of the disciplines vary. You should, in whatsoever subject you are, you should have a very good understanding of the subject. You should have the clarity of the concepts. You should have done a lot of thinking on the subject. Only then you will be able to do some quality research. Even the new education policy has mentioned that, they talk about creating a national research foundation. It is going to be an apex body. The main aim of National Research Foundation is to foster research culture in the country. There is a feeling in the government that we lack research culture in the country. Perhaps we do not teach our students with a view to do research. Our method of teaching generally focuses on examination, rote learning, and scoring high marks. We do not encourage thinking, innovation, and creativity amongst our students. That is why, not many people come to research. And those who come out of compulsion, they are not able to do good quality research work because their foundations are weak. So please remember, your research methodologies may be different because different subjects will have different methods of doing research. But the basic thing is you need to come out with new creativity, new ideas, new contribution to knowledge. And this sometimes I feel is also linked to our teaching. It is said education is the foundation of research. If you have been taught well, you will be able to do good research. Since most of us are teachers, it is also our responsibility to ensure that for our future generations, we teach well. We engage them, learners. It should not be the talk and chalk method where I write and students take down the note, they mug it up, reproduce in the examination and get very high marks. That's not the purpose of education. Learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of activity of the learners. So teachers should engage the learners. And once you will engage the learners, they will start thinking something new. It could be a problem-based learning, project-based learning. It could be case studies. It could be collaborative learning. It could be experiential learning. All of them will involve the students. And once you do something with your hand, you will never forget it. And then you can tomorrow become a good researcher. So these are some of the points which I wanted to highlight, that you need to do good quality research. What are the prerequisites? Not many people are coming to research in India. Very sad. There are about 4 crore students in higher education. And do you know how many come to research, PhD? Only 0.5%. So, of course, there are always some peaks of excellence here and there. But whether those peaks of excellence are because of the system or in spite of the system, that's a big question mark. Because India has a big advantage of being one of the youngest nations of the world. If we can, convert our humans into human resources, they can be a big asset for the country. And that can happen only through research. to come out with new technologies. And these days, many people use technologies also. Of course, you should do, but technology will not do research for you. Technology is only an enabler. It will save your time. It will help you doing many things very quickly. That's all. Nothing beyond that. Because technology is the creation of human mind. So if technology tries to overpower you, human mind will come out with a better technology. So no one can supersede human mind. But then we should train it for research. And once you do research, then comes the aspect of academic research writing, presenting those things. And slowly with practice, everybody learns. We also, when did our PhD thesis, that was the first step we did, we learned. Then slowly everybody learns structure, objectivity, precision, formality, all that. So those things will come. Of course, you should need to have a good command over the language also. Unfortunately, in India, sometimes writing skills are missing. We think in Hindi sometimes, but write in English. That's also a problem. So, but I'm sure many eminent resource persons will be discussing this topic, and you will learn a lot from them. And I'm very happy that this is a novel idea, but it can certainly help you in your presentation skills, in your writing skills, and all that. I thank the organizers once again for inviting me to be a part of this inaugural event. And I wish this faculty development program a great success. And I'm sure that you will benefit a great deal and you will go back highly enriched with how to write academic research. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Bakshi sir, for such an enlightening address on the importance of research writing and highlighting the attributes of good research and the value of research for this nation. I would now request Secretary Joint Penale Group, Mr. Gaurav Gulati sir, to propose the formal vote of thanks for the inaugural session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ashish. It is my pleasure to propose this vote of thanks on behalf of both the organizers, HSLC boards, Kishan Chalani College, Law College, and Roy Penal Group, and our collaborating partner, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching, Ministry of Education, Government of India. My heartfelt gratitude to our guests and our dignitaries, Professor A.K. Bakshi sir and Professor Vimal Rao ma'am, who have been our constant support every time whenever we call them, and their support is there with us. And this program would have not been possible without the constant support of the principal, Dr. Kavita Lalchandani and her team, Dr. Indu Warrior and Kiran Sharma. And it is not the end of the program, it is the beginning of these 7 days. And I would like to tell all the participants that be attentive with the classes. You will be given all the sessions, recorded sessions on the e-class. And we'll also have one technical session with the technical team of GDA TLC. They will be enlightening us with the details of the LMS which we'll be using, which is my eclass.academy. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll be having sessions, and from tomorrow 2 o'clock, we'll be having a session on the my e-class. So all the participants will be given a brief introduction of that, and they will then further the assignments and rest of the things will be available to you there. So thank you everyone for joining with us, and we have a second session at 5 o'clock. If I'm not wrong, Ashish sir?
Yes,
we have a session at 5 o'clock. Yes. So participants can rejoin, and we'll be having a session at 5 o'clock. Professor Dixit will be taking the session. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence. So for the session one, I guess Dr. Kiran Sharma will be taking the moderation.
Yes, sir. I will take care. I will take care.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
So we will be joining at 5, right? Or this link will be open, Gaurav, sir?
Yes,
So
the
we
link
will be
there.
joining at 5,
The
right?
same link will be used, and this is
Yes, quarter to 5. Quarter to 5. It will be open, Gaurav, sir?
yes, ma'am. This link will be open for all. Yes,
So we will be joining at 5,
the
right?
same link will be used.
Not 5, but 4:45. Quarter to 5. Quarter to 5. It will be open, Gaurav, sir?
Yes, ma'am. This link will be open.
So we will be joining at 5, right? Not 5, but 4:45. Quarter to 5. Quarter to 5.
कर रहा था मैं, बट ये
हो गया.
Sir, we'll wait for Dikshit, sir.
Yes, I am B.K. Dikshit.
Sir, good
Unfortunately,
evening. Sir, good evening. Actually,
on my picture, the name Navshesh
yes, sir.
Vikram
Yes,
appears.
that's why we were confused, sir. Welcome,
It
sir.
should be read as B.K. Dikshit
Yes, sir.
because my laptop is out of order. So I borrowed somebody else's laptop. So it is giving his name, the owner of the laptop.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
But
sir.
you may get it corrected.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, just we'll wait for 2-3 minutes.
Okay. बस कर लो, मुझे नहीं तो आवाज कम हो जाएगी.
अच्छा
बस इतना. शुभाशय. यहाँ ना था आपको.
वो कॉपी देना.
ये चलिए ना प्रश्न को.
Sir, any PPT presentation or something? No, no, sir. Any PPT presentation or something, sir?
No, nothing.
Okay, okay, sir. Fine, sir.
Sure.
Sir, with your kind permission, can we proceed further for the program, sir?
Yes.
Just I was waiting for Kavita, ma'am. Yeah.
You are
She's-
Dr. Kiran Sharma.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, yeah, sir. I was just waiting for Kavita, ma'am. She's just about to join, but she's
Kavita ma'am is the principal.
Yes, Dr. Kavita Lal Chandani, ma'am. I think she is having some network issue because she is at the place for the meeting.
Okay.
So we'll proceed further, and by that time, madam will join, sir.
Okay.
Good evening to one and all present here. for this on 1 week online faculty development program on academic research writing and best practices organized by HSNC board, Kishanchand Chelaram Law College and Dryad Pinale Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj, in collaboration with Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Sir, this program will be from 25th from today, April to 2nd May. Now, this is our proud privilege to welcome our esteemed guest today, which is Dr. Vinod Kumar Dikshit, sir. Sir is Professor, National Law Institute, University, Bhopal. On behalf of Sir, HSNC Board, Kishanchand Chelaram Law College, Dryad Pinale Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj, Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, we welcome you, sir, for this session today. Sir, it is my proud privilege before starting this session. I feel privileged to introduce a highly renowned legal, a distinct academician, an orator, and a great visionary, none than other our own Honorable Dr. Vinay Kumar Dikshit, sir, Professor, National Law Institute, University, National Law, Bhopal, who is our eminent speaker for this session of online faculty development program, which is session 1. Sir, you are starting this session actually, and it is the first session of this 1 week program. Professor V.K. Dikshit, sir, LLM from Aligarh University and PhD from University of Delhi. Sir retired as a professor of law from University of Delhi after teaching there for 31 years. Sir also taught at Aligarh Muslim University, University of Rajasthan, University of Warwick, UK, National Judicial Academy of India, 2005, when he retired from University of Delhi, Sir spent most of his time as a visiting professor at Hidayatullah National Law University, Raipur, National Law Institute, University, Bhopal, and Indian Law Institute, Delhi, and other institutions. Sir has also published articles in the area of disability discrimination in the classical Hindu law, changing concerns of public interest litigation and sustainable development, and unity of state power, amongst others. Sir's research on caste, class, and constitutional reservation was published by National Law Institute University. Sir has headed various committees, including administrative as well as academics. Sir is well known in the area of research. Honorable Sir, we at HSNC Board, KC Law College, along with our Dryad Pinale Group, unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj, are blessed to have us today. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I would like to request you, sir, to address the gathering, our participants. And just today is the introduction of the, on the topic, Introduction to Research Methodology. Thank you so much, sir. I'm hopeful that all participants are going to take a lot after hearing your lecture. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma, and my greetings to the participants of this session. Well, first of all, I want to apologize that behind on my picture, a wrong name appears. It is Navshesh Vikram, but I am not Navshesh Vikram. I am Professor Vinod Kumar Dikshit, that is V.K. Dikshit. And as the subject is research methodology, and because it is the first session of the research methodology, therefore, my job is to introduce you the subject. Well, I will begin with a very interesting story. Once upon a time, there was a great thinker who used to believe if you master a theory, then its practice would not be a difficulty. Therefore, he became very well versed in the philosophy of hydrodynamics with the belief that whenever he gets into water body, he will not drown. So confident that he has mastered the theory, therefore, he entered into a water body, but unfortunately, he drowned. So why did I tell you this story? My purpose is merely to tell you that as far as research methodology is concerned, a classroom theory is never sufficient. The more important thing is you will learn everything about research methodology only when you start or you begin a practical research. But then the question is, if all this is useless, a theoretical understanding is useless, then why we go to the swimming coach before entering into water body? The reason is that the swimming coach will tell you how not to drown. Similarly, when you attend this course, therefore, you will come to know how not to do research. That is, negatives we will tell you. In other words, we will tell you as how not to do research. And therefore, I will begin with the primary thing. So, because I have been a teacher for a long time, therefore, quite often a number of students come to me and ask, sir, what subject we select for our research topic? I never suggest anything to anyone. I always tell them that I'm not doing the research, therefore, I myself will not suggest you anything. The first and the most important thing is everyone should select a subject in which he is interested. Because you are interested in a subject with which you are familiar. You cannot be interested in a subject with which you are not familiar. So the most important thing is that you select your own subject. So this is what exactly I do with these students. I tell them, decide your own topic and then come to me, and then I correct them in as much as to what are the shortcomings in the selection of their topic. But at the same time, I also tell them, notwithstanding the fact that the subject must be of your choice, but at the same time, it must be such a subject as must be academically and socially relevant. You must not select something which is socially and academically irrelevant. So there must be a balance between two contradictory requirements. That is, the subject matter should be of your own choice. Say, for example, because there is a trend to do some research work in the intellectual property rights, but you are not familiar with the intellectual property rights. And if you select this subject, you will be in serious difficulties. So precisely for this reason, I always tell the student that select the subject in which you are interested, but with a rider that it must be socially and academically relevant subject. So when a student comes to me with a proposal, of course, I select two things. Number one, whether he is interested, he is familiar with the subject. Number two, whether for the purposes of research, it is a relevant subject or not. So there must be a balance between these two important requirements. Then quite often, a number of enthusiastic students select a title of the research topic, which is very, very fancy. I remember
Once, about 3 or 4 years ago, a girl of who was doing her PhD selected a topic, that is status of women in India. That was the only subject which she selected, status of women in India. I told her that you won't be able to do this, complete this research even in 10 years. She asked why? I said, scope of the research is determined according to the title of your subject. Your title is status of women in India, number one. So which type of status you are asking for? Whether it is historical context, status in the historical context, or it is a social status, it is intellectual status, it is economic status, or it is any other status. You have not specified what type of status you are talking about. There are a number of different status: cultural status, economic status, political status, social status, historical status. Which status you are talking about? Or status according to the provisions of the Constitution. Then this is the first problem. Then I told her that what type of study it is going to be, or is the study going to be empirical or doctrinaire? If it is empirical, is it possible for you to go to every corner of India and study the status of women? Status of Bengali women, status of Tamil women, status of Marathi women, status of Gujarati women, status of Punjabi women. Is it possible for you to go everywhere? However small the sample you may collect, but you won't be able to do it. And you have selected whole of India. If it is empirical, is it possible for you to go to everywhere in India? So this is very, very important. Research topic must be intelligently selected, and before finalizing the topic of your research or the title of your research, you must consult experts. Because in this enthusiasm, a number of the students select topics which is beyond their control. Or for example, somebody may select a topic, constitutional reservations. So I asked them, what type of reservation is in your mind? They say, constitutional reservation in civil services and educational institution. That is Article 15 and 16 of the Constitution. Then I say, but your topic is different. Constitutional reservation, there are several types of reservations provided under the Constitution. There is constitutional reservation in legislature also in favor of Anglo-Indians. Then there are legislative reservations in favor of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Are you including both of them? They will say no. Then restrict the scope of your topic. So what I'm emphasizing again and again is that when you select your title, be careful, because when I examine a thesis, I always first read the title of the subject, and the scope of your research is determined in accordance with the title. So if it is an empirical research, then it must be socio-legal research or sociological research or anthropological research. If it is going to be doctrinaire, then you must specify in so many words. So that is the first important aspect of the problem. Then after selecting the topic, the second step, which is equally more important, is that whether you will get sufficient material on the topic which you have selected. Say, for example, you select a topic, Supreme Court on the Protection of Civil Rights Act. Civil Rights Act are with relation to untouchability. Now, hardly there would be 3 or 4 cases by the Supreme Court on this topic. So what you are going to do? You will do a huge research merely with reference to 2 or 3 topics or cases. Or in 2007, because a particular act which is known as the Competition Act of India was passed in 2002 and came into operation in 2009. If I select my topic on the basis of the passage of the act in 2002, that is, what is the approach of the court on the competition law, that is the Supreme Court on competition law. There is not a single Supreme Court case on competition law till 2011 and 12. So that is very important. So first is whether sufficient research material would be available to you or not. The third step is sufficient material is available, whether it is accessible to you or not. Because there is a difference between the two. Material is available, whether it is accessible or not. So there is a very interesting story about it. In an institution in Delhi, they selected a particular subject, that is judicial process in the district judiciary in the state of Delhi. Judicial process in district judiciary in the state of Delhi. So they made an elaborate program to interview judges. Of course, it would have been a wonderful study, because unless you interview the judicial officers at the district level, this judicial process cannot be complete. So it was a wonderful subject. And then they sought permission from the High Court that we want to interview your district judges. High Court said, we will not permit you. So whole project collapsed. Therefore, what I mean, material is available, but material is not accessible to you. Or similarly, you want to make a project on the conditions of under trial in the jails. And when you seek permission from the state government that we want to visit and interview under trials, they say, we will not permit you. Or your project is that you are a student of history and you want to consult the records about India during the colonial period, some of which is in India Office Library in London. So you have funds, everything is there. You are ready to go there, but at the last moment, the British government does not grant you visa. Everything is collapses. So this is, I'm saying that quite often it happens that the material is available, but it is not accessible to you. So therefore, in all these matters, precaution should be taken that whether there are two important things, whether this material is available, sufficient material is available, and number two, whether it is accessible to you or it is not accessible to you. So these precautions must always be taken by every researcher. Then, as far as social science research is concerned, it is a very important thing to note that all these social sciences can be divided into two channels. The first is some social sciences are normative social sciences, whereas other social sciences are behavioral social sciences. Let us understand the difference between the two. Law, morality, both of them are normative social sciences. Anthropology, sociology, criminology, they are behavioral sciences. What is the difference between the two? Because I have to make a difference between the two for the simple reason that the methodology for use for both these streams is substantially different. And quite often, you have to use both of them or you have to use either of them. Therefore, you must be able to understand as to what is the difference between these two types of social sciences. Normative social sciences are those social sciences which lay down the standards of behavior. That is, what you ought to do and what you ought not to do. With this, they are concerned. So what is this? What you ought to do and what you ought not to do. Law always, if you read, I will give you a simple example. I hope every one of you familiar that in India we have a particular law which is known as Dowry Prohibition Act. If any foreigner who is not familiar with the realities of the Indian society, if he reads the provisions of the Dowry Prohibition Act, he will immediately come to the conclusion that how wonderful an Indian society is, because whosoever demands dowry and whosoever in fulfillment of that demand gives dowry, both of them can be prosecuted and punished. What a wonderful thing. But everybody who lives in India and is familiar with the realities of the Indian society knows very well that you go to attend any marriage. Of course, I'm saying most of the marriages. There may be judges may be present, police officers may be present, politicians may be present, civil servants may be present. Dowry is openly demanded and openly given. And no one, even for a moment, thinks then a crime is being committed here. But the moment a maid servant steals a utensils, everyone will pounce on her, that hand her over to the police because she's a thief. So as far as theft is concerned, for us, it is a crime. But demanding dowry and giving dowry is not a crime under the popular imagination. So I have pointed out this story to make you aware of the fact that there may be world of difference between the standards set out by the society or by the legal system for regulating the behavior of the people and the behavior of the people. There is likely to be tremendous difference. Our standard is on the one side and our actual behavior is completely different. Why is it so? The reason is very simple, that legal policy is that dowry is a crime. But as far as people's policy is, the dowry is not a crime. It is a necessary social institution. So I have narrated this story in order to point out to you that there may be world of difference between what ought to be and what actually happens. So when we read in our legal system or in any book of law that whosoever commits murder shall be punished, whosoever commits theft shall be punished, whosoever commits fraud shall be punished. So, what is the standard of behavior? We ought not to commit, we ought not to kill anyone. We ought not to commit theft. That is, we must not steal the property of another person. And we must not commit fraud against any other person. But simply by reading these provisions in the law book, we do not know whether our society is a law-abiding society or a law-breaking society. By knowing, so there is a difference between what is the standard of behavior and how actually people behave. There may be a word of difference between the two. So in other words, normative sciences are those sciences which lay down the standards of behavior. Or for example, if you make a promise, then you ought to keep it. So normative sciences are governed by the preposition ought. We ought to do this, we ought not to do this, we should do this, we should not do this. And behavioral sciences are governed by the preposition is. That is what actually happens in the society. So when the law provides that we ought not to steal the property of others, there may be a society where most of the people are thieves, and there are societies where a very few people are thieves. So law breaking people, societies, and law abiding society. So if you want to improve your legal system or the normative system, you ought to know why people give and take dowry. This is very important. Unless you know why people give and take dowry, you cannot prevent dowry. And these, the reasons why people break law, why people commit theft, why people commit murder, why people commit fraud. Or in India, we have a special practice which is known as the practice of untouchability. Why it is that face of no one is visible. Only my face is visible, but other faces are not visible. What is the reason? Why don't you show your faces? This is very strange to address the blank figures. Now 2 or 3 faces are visible. So what happens? Law is a normative science. And there are other sciences which are behavioral sciences. Law lays down, or morality also lay down, the standards of behavior. We always hear we ought to speak the truth. Satyamev Jayate. That is the emblem of our country. Satyamev Jayate. This is a normative statement which says we ought to speak the truth. We must not speak lies. We must not commit theft. We must not harm the innocent animals. So they lay down standards of behavior. But on the other hand, there are certain behavioral sciences. The function of behavioral sciences is primarily to observe the actual behavior of the people, how people behave in the society. We are not concerned with the question what people should behave, but we are primarily concerned with the question how people ought to behave. So these are two different social sciences. One is primarily concerned with the laying down of the standards. But when you lay down the standard, you do not know whether people's behavior is in accordance with these standards or not. So when we lay down the standard that we ought not to speak the truth, we ought not to speak lies, we do not know whether most of the people speak lies or speak the truth. But I want to know as to what is the impact of this standard of behavior. When we say that people ought to speak the truth, I want to know whether actually people's behavior is in accordance with this standard. So I go to the society and observe the people. And after observing the people, I may come to the conclusion that in this particular section of the society, most of the people always speak the truth. When I go to another section of the society, I may observe most of the people speak lies. So this is the reason. Then I come to the conclusion. Then my second effort would be, why one section of the society abide by this norm that we ought to speak the truth, whereas another section of the society does not abide by the norm that we ought to speak the truth. Let me take the case of untouchability, or for that matter, dowry. Law lays down that we ought not to demand dowry. But why people demand dowry? When I go to the society, I observe that people habitually and regularly demand dowry, and the family of the bride happily give dowry. What is the reason? People violate law. And no one, even for a moment, think that a crime is being committed. So I myself have interviewed in the state of Rajasthan people. There were several reasons. Some people thought that dowry must be given to the bride because generally the parents of the bride do not give any share in the property to their daughters. Entire property is given generally to the boys, notwithstanding the fact that the Hindu law now provides that equal property should be given to boys as well as girls. But generally, in most of the Hindus' family, is still a share in the property of the father is not given to the girls, but entire property is given to the boys. So they say dowry is given in lieu of inheritance, right to inheritance to the daughter. This is one of the reasons. Okay. A very sensible reason, because parents do not want to give property right to their daughters. Number two, the reason may be the respect of the girl in the family of her husband is directly proportionate to the amount of dowry which she brings. Otherwise, the family of the bridegroom will say, oh, what a poor family. They have not given the dowry in accordance with the status of the husband. So I have given you only two reasons, but generally there may be many reasons. But how shall you come to know about these reasons? You will come to know about these reasons only when you go to the people and inquire about this particular institution, why dowry is given. They will answer that this is the reason because of which dowry is. But at the same time, you do not suggest to them dowry is a good thing or bad thing. Because if you start suggesting to them and arguing them, the dowry is a very bad thing, then ultimately they will agree with you. Because every person does not want to enter into arguments. So it is absolutely necessary for an investigator in the society to not to give leading questions, put leading questions. Leading questions means do not suggest the answers. Let people speak for themselves. So this is the difference. As far as normative sciences are concerned, these normative sciences, the methodology used in these normative sciences is completely different from the methodology of research used in social sciences. So let me tell you what is the difference. Notwithstanding the fact that there is a relationship between the two, that I will discuss a little later. But what is the difference? Say, for example, you read the provisions of the Protection of Civil Rights Act. Perhaps some of you may not be familiar with the Protection of Civil Rights Act. It relates to abolition of untouchability or eradication of untouchability in the society. So first of all, you read its provision, interpret them logically and systematically. Because as far as normative sciences are concerned, the most important tool of research is analysis or logical analysis. So if you want to understand what has been provided by the legislature, what you will do? You will go to the library, get a copy of the Protection of Civil Rights Act, read its provision, and then read the cases in which these provisions of Protection of Civil Rights Act have been interpreted by the courts. Then you read the interpretation given by the court in leading cases. Or you read other material. First of all, you will have to understand what exactly is the meaning of untouchability, because in the act there are so many terms which are interpreted or given, the meaning of which is given in the act itself, but there are certain words which are not defined. Say, for example, untouchability has not been defined in any law book. Not a single law book. Neither in the Constitution. Constitution Article 17 provides untouchability is abolished in all its form and its practice shall be punishable in accordance with the law passed by the Indian Parliament. But even in Article 17, untouchability has not been defined. So when you are interpreting articles, writing a doctrinaire research or a legal research on Article 17 and the Protection of Civil Rights Act, which implements the provisions of Article 17 in the sense that certain how untouchability shall be abolished, because this act has been passed by the Indian Parliament. So first of all, your problem is what is untouchability? A person who has fallen in a drain and become dirty, no one will touch him. But is this untouchability which is being referred to Article 17? The answer is no. It is not physical untouchability which is being referred to Article 17, because this untouchability is a temporary untouchability. The moment he takes a bath, changes his clothes, he becomes touchable. Or in India, there is a very strange practice. A woman who is undergoing menstruation becomes for temporary period untouchable. She is not allowed to enter into the kitchen, etc. But Article 17 is not referring to that untouchability. Which untouchability is referring to? An untouchability which is peculiar to the Indian society, in which a person is untouchable not because of the cleanliness, physical cleanliness, but because of ritual uncleanliness. He may be physically very, very clean. He has taken a bath, wearing very, very nice clothes, yet he is untouchable. Not because of physical reason, but because of ritual reasons. So this untouchability is not explained in any law book. It is explained in the literature of sociology. So first of all, you will have to understand what is untouchable, and for this purpose, you will have to read the provisions of sociological research. What exactly are the implications of untouchability? So even for legal research, some of the sociological material you will have to read. But you are not actually doing sociological research. You are simply reading the result of research conducted by certain sociologists, not by you. So it is a secondary material for you. And then you understand what is the meaning of untouchability. Then you try to interpret what has been provided in a logical manner. So you have, as far as this empirical or legal research is concerned, the normative research is concerned, that is not done in the society. It is done in the library after reading the literature on the basis of logical deduction. It is known as deduction. So what is the meaning of deduction? We make certain premises. We think certain statements are true statements. And then out of these premises, we draw a logical conclusion. I will give you a simple example. I make two statements which are two premises. Number one, strong, the weak is subordinate to the strong. This is one. The weak is subordinate to the strong. The second is women are weaker than men. So what is the logical conclusion? That women are subordinate to men. So I have not done any social research, but out of these two assumptions, because I will say assumptions, because sometimes legal premises are also assumption. I have drawn logically the second, because first was the strong suppresses the weak. The other is women are weaker than men. The logical conclusion is women are subordinate to men. But what is the difficulty here? If your premises are wrong premises, then your logical conclusion shall also be wrong. In this case, the second premise, that is women are weaker than men, is a wrong premise. Why it is wrong? That what is the meaning of weaker? Weaker does not mean merely because all women are not, every woman is not weaker than every man. This is one thing. Some women are stronger physically than a man is. This is number one. Number two, weakness does not reflect only in the sense of physical strength. It also means economic strength, social strength, or moral strength. In economic, political, or social status, it is quite possible that a woman may be stronger than men. So what I'm trying to tell you, as far as legal research is concerned and normative research is concerned, it is a logical deduction from two premises. And the premises are assumptions. But as far as these premises are concerned, if they are wrong, then your logical conclusion shall also be wrong. If they are right, then logical conclusion shall also be right. But whether these premises are right or wrong, we will find them in society. But when we examine the society at different times, these premises maybe seems to be correct, at another time they seem to be wrong. Say for example, take for example in Indian situation about 100 years ago or 70 years ago, what was every woman believed at that time, I remember that she is subordinate to man. But now if you go to any modern woman, she will not agree. She will immediately say, why I'm weak? I'm as strong as a man is. So their mental attitude has changed. So at another time, about 100 years ago, most of the women were willingly suffered violence by the husband. But nowadays, a woman who is self-assertive is not prepared to suffer violence from the hand of her husband, and she will immediately report the matter to the police. So what I'm saying, that these premises, some premises may be right 100 years ago, but today they are not. Or in one society, they may be acceptable. In another society, they may not be acceptable. Even now, some women believe that they are weaker than men. But every woman does not. So, the most important tool of doctrine and research or the normative research is logic. And logic is nothing other than deduction from some of the premises. But then, what are the tools of investigation or research in behavioral sciences? In behavioral sciences, we do not make logical deductions. We simply observe the behavior of the people. And we do not include or impose our own logic on the behavior of the people. So when we go to investigate whether untouchability is being practiced, because we know there is a law, but we want to assess whether law has been able to achieve the results for which it is made. The law is made to eradicate untouchability, but I want to know whether this law is actually eradicating untouchability or not. So I will suggest a field. Field is known by the technical name of universe. I will select a particular area. It may be a village, it may be a tehsil, it may be a taluka, it may be a district, etc. But here I will divide the population primarily in two sections. One section consists of those who are accused of practicing untouchability. And then the other section consists of those who are the victims of untouchability. Similarly, in the case of dowry, we will again select this population like this. Those who demand dowry and those who give dowry when the dowry is demanded. That is the family of the groom and the family of the bride in this way. So we want to know whether the act has been successful in eradicating untouchability, or in case of dowry, able to eradicate dowry. And then we may come to the conclusion that it is partially successful, it is marginally successful, it is completely successful, or it is totally unsuccessful. How? If those who practice untouchability, that is the so-called higher caste, if all of them, we find that they continue to practice untouchability and the victims suffer it, or people keep on demanding dowry and the family of the bride keep on giving dowry, there is no resistance in either of the case, then we will say the acts are not fully implemented. Therefore, we need to make changes in the act. So I tell you, when in 55 this act, Untouchability Offences Act was passed, it was found that there are certain loopholes. I will mention only one or two in order to give you some illustrations. when we go to the field, we find that the Act provides if anyone is found to be guilty of practicing untouchability by a court of law, the court may award a simple imprisonment which may extend for 1 month or 2 months as the case may be, and impose a fine. So generally it happened, number one, it is very difficult to lodge a report because the police officer generally was a person who belonged to the higher caste. So he will discourage the victim. I will not write your complaint. Number one. Then the court is about 50, 60 or 100 kilometers away. That is the city center. He does not have resources to go there. And then he has to pay the fee of the lawyer. If surpassing all these difficulties, he has gone there and is able to prove that untouchability has been practiced against him, then the court will say, because it is the first time offender, therefore I will impose a fine of 100 rupees. Then the person against who has been punished and imposed a fine of 100 rupees will come back to the village and say, what has happened to me? I have paid 100 rupees and came back. Because in the rural society, a punishment means only imprisonment, not a fine. Everyone can afford the 100 rupee fine. What is difficulty? And then there was a provision, the Act writes, if the discriminatory practice has been done only on grounds of untouchability, the word is only on ground. So, in a particular case, there was a village where there was a kirtan. You understand the meaning of kirtan? In the kirtan, a particular community was not invited because they considered them to be untouchable. But they simply invited their headman, the mukhya, the headman of the community. But others were not invited in order to get rid of the provisions of the Act. So it can be decided that this discrimination was not only on untouchability because one of the untouchables was invited in this way. So the next important thing which I want to tell you is there is a close relationship between normative sciences and behavioral sciences. But first I will tell you that what are the methodology? How you assess the behavior of the people in the society. There are several methods. Number one, you interview them. One-to-one, face-to-face. But you must not suggest the answers. Or if there is a paucity of time, you give them questionnaire. Provided they are literate people. You cannot give questionnaire to an illiterate person. That's not possible. Or if you want to make, because unfortunately, when you interview people, people will tell you what they want to tell you. They will not tell the real thing. Say, for example, when I was interviewing for the purposes of dowry in the state of Rajasthan in certain districts, generally, the rural and the urban literate people or educated people will not admit that dowry is a good thing, notwithstanding the fact that they will give dowry and they will demand dowry. But they will not admit it. So I introduce, because if I ask the question whether dowry is a good thing or bad thing, invariably this is a bad thing, notwithstanding the fact that they will demand and give dowry. So I ask another question, introduce the third alternative. The third alternative, dowry is bad, but because of social circumstances, we have to give and accept it. So bad is there, but we give and take because there are certain social pressures. So large number of people take this response. So you have to intelligently put questions. Then I came across another problem. In a large number of families, there is a discrimination in the upbringing of boys and the girls. Generally, in the poorer family, I observed that a discrimination is made in the food stuff. If the food is in short supply in the family, better food is given to the boys, not to the girls. In these families, if resources are limited, boys will be sent to the school, girls will not be. Or boys will be sent to the private schools and girls shall be sent to the government schools where fees is not charged. In this way. But then I came across with a rich family. They said, what do you mean by food discrimination in food? Our food is available even to the servant. We don't make any discrimination in food as far as boys and girls are concerned, and the education. All our children are educated in the best schools, public schools, no discrimination. Then I kept on thought of the matter. Then I asked the last question. Why do you educate your boys? To make their personality, to make their career. And why do you educate your daughters? The answer was so that they can get a better husband. This was the discrimination. Boys are educated for career, girls are educated for the purposes of a better husband. So you have to ask questions intelligently. Then another method is do not ask questions. You live among them and observe. Observation is also the best method. But you have to spend a greater time there. Without spending time, you cannot observe. Whereas in asking question, it takes little time. But observation is far better method if you want to make a study in depth. This can be done only by observation method. Or there may be case study. Case study means a particular event. Say, for example, there is a riot in a village. So you go there and find out what are the causes and how this riot took place or a fight took place. This is a case study method. So I have broadly differentiated in the methodology. That is, in behavioral sciences, it is observation of the behavior. But the investigator or the researcher should not include his own bias in asking questions. Don't begin with the dowry is such a bad thing under the sun, but I hope you don't practice it. So we'll say, no, I don't practice it. I have seen poorer families at the time of election, if you ask them, if you are a BJP supporter and ask them, to whom shall you vote? I will vote for BJP. If you are a Congress supporter and ask them to whom you shall vote, they will say, I will vote for Congress. And you do not know the truth. Because bias is writ large on your sleeve, because you are wearing the cap of a particular party. So therefore, the important thing is investigator should not include his own bias on the subject. He should be absolutely impartial and neutral. So that is the difference between behavior. Logic is the most important tool of normative sciences, whereas observation or study of the behavior is the most important tool of behavioral sciences. But what is the relationship between the two? I will tell you the relationship with reference to a concrete example. It is about the 70s. I was teaching in the University of Delhi. Then a report was published, perhaps it was Indian Express or some other newspaper, in which a Roman Catholic priest, that is a father of the Roman Catholic Church, reported that there exists bonded labor system in the district Palamu of Bihar. So people said that this, we are living in modern India. How possible such a institution exists in India where people are treated as slaves? Bonded laborers are practically slaves. So nobody believed. But when the news went to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, he dispatched certain officers from the Labor Department who went to Palamu. And they submitted a report. That is, yes, the priest father was right. There exists the bonded labor system. Then interested people from different corners of the country reported that under different names, this system exists. From Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, etc., and North India, Bihar, UP, everywhere there was a report. So it was established that father was not saying something wrong, it actually exists. So therefore, in order to eradicate this practice, in 76, a law was passed by the Indian Parliament, that is Bonded Labor System Abolition Act. The main provisions provided that whosoever demand implementation of bonded labor system shall be prosecuted and punished. And the bonded labor are free now and they are not required to pay back this money. But later on, after some time, it was reported, notwithstanding this act, bonded labor system continues. That is, the act is not able to achieve the result for which it was made. That is, there was some flaw in the act. So again, investigation was done, behavioral investigation in the society. So here I will tell you a very interesting case or unfortunate case from the district of Ratlam in Madhya Pradesh, which is on the border of Maharashtra, I think. So there was a bonded labor system there. So the perpetuator of bonded labor system were prosecuted and punished. Then everybody said that justice has been done. So after some time, investigator went to that village and asked, now you are happy, the so-called bonded labor, you are happy that justice has been done to you. They said, what shall we do with justice? We eat bread, not justice. Please mark the word. We eat bread, we do not eat justice. What do you mean? They said, after this event, no one gives us employment. So we are hungry people, we are without bread. We are requesting these people take us at bonded labor so that we can get at least 2 meals a day. Now we are not. So this is the condition. That is, the real cause is these bonded labor system for their subsistence are dependent on the perpetuator of the bonded labor system. And why? Because why they go to take loan from them, debt from them? The reason is banks do not provide loan to these people. Thereafter, it was a direction was given to the nationalized bank that they ought to give loan to the poorer sections also. So this is, so what I'm trying to do is, notwithstanding the fact that the methodology of normative sciences is, or research methodology of normative sciences is different from the research methodology of behavioral sciences, because these two sciences are different. But there is a relationship between them. Because in the ultimate analysis, a theory cannot be separated from practice, and a practice cannot be separated from theory, because both of them are integrally related to each other. Therefore, there is a causal relationship between them, particularly when you pass a normative system, whether it is law or morality. In case of morality, it is often said, particularly in North India, that bhuke bhajan na hoye gopala. That is, with a 100-degree stomach, I cannot go to temple and pray. I can go to pray only with if my stomach is full. So these are the reality, that is, the normative duties cannot be performed if my basic needs are not fulfilled. A hungry person will invariably commit theft. I remember the case of, there is a French novel, Les Miserables, in which a 7-year-old boy who was orphan, he did not have a family, was hungry and went to a shop and stole a loaf of bread. He was caught and sentenced to imprisonment by the court, because law did not know or did not make a distinction, but it was archaic law of 18th century. And then he became a hardened criminal. This Jean Valjean, that is the hardened criminal, in a cold night was moving around, and then he saw a church. At the church, he entered into, and the priest was there, that is the father of the church. Father took pity on him and gave food to him and bed to sleep. There was a silver candle stand, and there was a candle on it. And the father asked, you sleep throughout the night here, in the morning you can go. But he became dishonest. He stole the silver candle stand. And during the night, he went out of the house. But in the way, a policeman apprehended him and found a silver candle stand, and he said, where did you get it? Because you look like a vagabond, a person of questionable character. He said that father of the church has given it to me. No, I think you have stolen it. No, father willingly gave it to me. Okay, you come with me, I will go to the church and ask the father. He went to the church and called the father and asked the father that this man says that you gave this candle stand to him. Is he right or he stole? The father said, yes, I gave it to him. And that was the turning point in the life of Jean Valjean. So what I'm trying to tell you is that normative system, that is, you must not steal the property of the other, can be implemented and successful only if there are proper social conditions. So because of this, that is, a hungry man, you cannot ask a hungry man not to steal. He is bound to steal. So there is a close relationship between laying down the standards and the realities that exist in the society. So the ultimate analysis is, or conclusion is, the most important tool of legal research or normative research is logic, and logic can be found in the logical analysis of the provisions of morality or provisions of law. And this logic is deduction from two or a number of premises and making logical conclusions. But if the premises are wrong, the conclusion is bound to be wrong. And what is the test of whether the premises are wrong or right, whether they are really exist in the society. That is, are women weaker than men in the society? Maybe 100 years ago they were, but not today. Because not the position of a person is not merely dependent on his physical strength. It is mostly dependent on his economic strength nowadays. And if there is a rich man, then she cannot be subordinate to, or an assertive woman, she cannot be subordinate to a man. But on the other hand, in empirical sciences, that is the behavioral sciences, the tools of observation is, it is not logic. Because you are observing the behavior of the people. So behavior of the people can be observed by you, not logically, but by observing what people are doing in the society. And then there is a relationship with it. So every act, particularly those which affect the behavioral pattern of the people or which are directed toward social reforms, they must be tested on the touch screen of what actually happening in the society. So there is a clear-cut relationship between law and society, what happening in the society and what happening in the law. So this is all I wanted to discuss with you, and some time must be given for making comments, asking questions, or making certain observations. Yes, Dr. Kiran Sharma.
Yes. Yes, sir. It was
If
full
there
of
are some questions or observations,
Yes,
they
sir.
can
Yes,
make.
sir. This now it is open for participants. They can ask questions. They can tell their own observations.
And critical comments. If you
Critical
disagree with
comment,
me,
yeah.
you can also disagree.
Hmm.
There is no
Yes.
reason not to disagree.
Yeah. Now forum is open, dear participants.
हेलो सर।
Yes.
आपने राजस्थान के डाउरी के इस संबंध में जो क्वेश्चंस किया था सर, डिमांडेड डाउरी एंड पेड डाउरी, तो हमें वो थोड़ा समझ में नहीं आया सर। डिमांड डाउरी अगर क्राइम होता है तो पेड डाउरी क्राइम नहीं हो सकता सर?
देखिए, जहां तक ये डाउरी प्रोहिबिशन एक्ट है,
एक्चुअली डाउरी तो लेना कानूनी गैर है। वो दिया और ना भी दिया तो भी गैर है ना सर। अगर प्रॉपर्टी में डॉटर को अगर राइट नहीं मिलता है तो वो कोई डाउरी के इसमें नहीं हो सकता सर। वो
सुनिए तो
हमारे जरा समझ में नहीं आया सर। प्लीज डू टेक द एक्सप्लेनेशंस ऑफ दिस वर्ड्स।
एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूं। पहले तो ये समझिए डाउरी प्रोहिबिशन एक्ट में लिखा क्या है। डाउरी प्रोहिबिशन एक्ट में डाउरी देना प्रोहिबिटेड नहीं, उसमें लिखा है कि इफ द ब्राइड ग्रूम मेक्स ए डिमांड, then giving the dowry is a crime. Giving dowry on the demand made by the bridegroom or his family is a crime. But if somebody gives gift to his daughter, it is not crime. That is, if the bridegroom or her family does not make a demand, and without demand, the father of the girl, because of natural love and affection, लड़की का पिता अपने प्रेम के कारण, क्योंकि बेटी से प्रेम करता है वो, उस कारण अगर कुछ गिफ्ट अपनी बेटी को देता है तो ये क्राइम नहीं है। क्राइम तब होगा जब उसको कंपेल किया जाता है। ब्राइडग्रूम की फैमिली और ब्राइडग्रूम ये कहते हैं कि हमें तो एक मोटरसाइकिल दीजिए, नहीं तो हमें शादी मंजूर नहीं है। या इनडायरेक्ट वे में कहते हैं, आजकल मेथड डायरेक्ट का नहीं है, इनडायरेक्ट वे में कहते हैं कि साहब हमें तो कोई डिमांड नहीं है, मगर हमारे स्टेटस के हिसाब से शादी होनी चाहिए। हमारे स्टेटस के हिसाब से होनी चाहिए, इसका मतलब डिमांड कर रहा हो। तो ये डिमांड की बात है। अब सवाल ये है कि जब डिमांड होती भी है तो जनरली ना तो लड़की वाले को कोई एतराज होता, ना लड़के वाले कोई कहता, तो कंप्लेंट करे कौन पुलिस में? बिकॉज बोथ द साइड्स आर ऑन द सेम पेज। देने वाला भी खुश है, लेने वाला भी खुश है। देने वाला ये कह रहा है कि मेरी लड़की का जिंदगी सुखी हो जाएगी, नहीं तो उसे परेशान करेंगे। तो प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जो क्राइम कर रहा है और जिसके अगेंस्ट क्राइम हो रहा है, दोनों एक दूसरे के साथ हैं। डाउरी की कंप्लेंट तब होती है जब लड़की अपने हस्बैंड के साथ रहना उसका नामुमकिन हो जाता है। हमेशा डाउरी देखिएगा आप, शादी के टाइम पे कभी कोई डाउरी की कंप्लेंट नहीं होती। डाउरी की कंप्लेंट तभी होती हैं जब 1-8 साल रह लिए साथ साथ और लड़की को इतना टॉर्चर किया कि वो कह रही कि भाई मुझे तो मुक्ति दो, घर आऊंगी, तब वो डाउरी कंप्लेंट होती है। तो प्रॉब्लम ये है। तो
सर एक्चुअली अभी कोई सोशल ट्रेस में ऐसी सिस्टम है, पहले के जमाने में कि डॉटर का फादर डाउरी देता था।
हाँ,
अब तो कुछ राजस्थान और मध्य प्रदेश की ट्राइबल्स एरिया में ऐसी सिस्टम है कि लड़के वाला लड़की वाले को डाउरी देता है।
हाँ, वो उसको डाउरी नहीं कहते। मैंने एक आर्टिकल लिखा है उस पर भी, जो कि एक लंदन के पेपर में पब्लिश हुआ है। उसको
हाँ जी
कहते हैं
सर।
हम ब्राइट प्राइस। दो सिस्टम है, देखिए मैं बताऊं आपको। एक डाउरी है, डाउरी में गिफ्ट एंड ब्राइड मूव इन द सेम डायरेक्शन, यानी लड़की अपने हस्बैंड के यहाँ जाती ब्राइड ग्रूम के, उसके साथ साथ डाउरी, यानी दोनों एक साइड में चल देती हैं
जी।
और ब्राइड प्राइस में होता है कि ब्राइड एंड द गिफ्ट मूव इन डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन। दैट इज ब्राइड ग्रूम जो है वो, उसका फादर या ब्राइड ग्रूम की फैमिली जो है वो कुछ गिफ्ट लड़की के फादर को देते हैं और उसके बदले में लड़की को दे दिया। ये सिस्टम जो है अफ्रीका में बहुत प्रिवेलेंट है और इंडिया में सारी कम्युनिटीज में नहीं, जो सो कॉल्ड फॉर्मर लोअर कास्ट थी उनमें था ये सिस्टम। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कंजर्स कम्युनिटी जो थी राजस्थान की, उसमें था और अब भी है। उसमें करते ये हैं कि 2 तरह के सिस्टम होते हैं ब्राइड प्राइस के, यानी हस्बैंड को ब्राइड तब मिलेगी जब वो कुछ गिफ्ट लड़की के फादर को देता। समझ रहे हैं ना आप बात मेरी?
हाँ भी समझ रहा हूँ सर।
तो उसमें 3 तरीके हैं। अफ्रीका में ज्यादातर कैटल दिए जाते हैं कि मैं 40 गाय दे रहा हूँ, 40 बैल दे रहा हूँ, आप मुझे अपनी बेटी की मुझसे शादी कर दीजिए। एक तो ये सिस्टम है। इंडिया में जनरली इट इज कैश, 20,000 रुपए, 30,000 रुपए हम शादी में आपको देंगे, आप अपनी लड़की की शादी में दे दीजिए। और ओल्ड टेस्टामेंट जो है बाइबल का, उसमें एक और उदाहरण मिलता है। उसमें एक स्टोरी है कि एक लड़का अपना ब्राइड प्राइस अपने वाइफ के फादर को नहीं दे पाया, तो उसने कहा कि मेरे घर 7 साल रहे और मेरे खेतों में काम मजदूरी कर तू, तब तुझे बीवी मिलेगी। तो 7 साल उसने मजदूरी करी अपने ससुर के खेत में, तब वो अपनी बीवी को लेकर घर गया।
सर ये सिस्टम तो भारत में भी है सर।
हाँ, भारत में भी है। तो ये 2
ट्राइबल
सिस्टम
एरिया
है।
में अभी मेरे यहाँ
जनरली
जो
ऐसा था, मैं आपको
खेती का,
बताता हूँ, जो सो
मेरे खेती
कॉल्ड
के
हायर
काम के
कास्ट
लिए
थे,
जो आदमी रखे हैं,
जो द्विज थे या बहुत सारे ओबीसी कास्ट थे, उनमें तो डॉवरी सिस्टम था और सारे ओबीसी में नहीं था, लेटर ऑन हुआ है। और जो सो कॉल्ड लोअर कास्ट थी उनमें ब्राइड प्राइस सिस्टम था। मगर डॉवरी प्रोहिबिशन एक्ट जो है वो दोनों को ही प्रोहिबिट करता है, दोनों ही उसके परव्यू में है। यानी अगर आप, लड़की का फादर ये कहेगा कि मुझे इतने रुपए दो तब मैं अपनी बेटी दूंगा, इट इज ऑल्सो ए क्राइम। तो ये दोनों ही है इसमें। यस, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
थैंक यू सर।
Any other question or comment?
Any other question? I think, sir, we can see in the chat box an excellent session, wonderful session, and all that they are writing.
Thank you very much, participants. It was a pleasure to be with you.
So no question now.
Okay.
Sir, now I will proceed for vote of thanks. Dear, excellent session. Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Knowledgeable.
Okay. So I'm permitted to leave?
Sir, just 1 second. As Cicero said, gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the others. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this first session of FTP program. On behalf of HSNC Board, Kishanchand Chelaram Law College, and Droid Penale Group, a unit of Arjun Das Gulati Memorial Society, Prayagraj, in collaboration with Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks. Sir, as you started your session with a negative point, and you gave so many key pointers that how to select a topic. At the same time, we are happy to know that you are giving a lot of liberty and choice to your researcher to select a topic with honesty, sincerity, and without bias. Sir, with all simple examples which are really relevant in our society, you gave a lot of understanding about the research methodology. Actually, if we see from the beginning till end, it is really a preparationary, I can say that a platform today where students can think about the research before starting or thinking, they can remember your points, how to do research, how to not do a research. I think this is a very, very important point for all of us teachers. All participants are our teachers only. So for making a good research, all of us will remember it. Sir, your session was really wonderful session. A lot of information was there inside. So definitely our participants are going to carry a lot with them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sir, our principal, Dr. Kavita Lalchandani madam, she could not join this session, sir, but she is always there with her great leadership to support such kind of the programs. She always make to do all these programs. So we are really thankful to our principal, respected Dr. Kavita Lalchandani madam. I also extend thanks to our Mr. Gaurav Gulati, who is Secretary of Droid Pinale Group Prayagraj. He is always there for all the coordination for all FDP program, and in past also we had national conference also with him. So we are really thankful to Mr. Gulati sir. Last but not the least, I extend my sincere thanks to all excellent participants for asking their excellent questions. So thank you all of you, those who are present for this session. Thank you so much, sir. We are
Hello.
pleased with us today. I think someone, yes, Mr. Patil, do you want to ask anything? Mr. Patil, I think he was unmuted. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So participants, as it was written in the chat box that every morning you will be receiving your feedback forms. So all of you, please fill up that. Regarding assignments and all that, you will come to know already. I think all of you have received the mails also. So time to time, you will get all the information. So thank you all of you.